we have case number?
Yes.
206.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Brostad here.
Thank
You
you.
want to go ahead and have a seat? This is
Join the
board
party.
It's
members.
like one of those group interviews.
There you go.
We're sitting over here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
You're finding, I think it protects y'all from the light over here.
wow, okay.
All right, case number 206.
Okay. We have some administrative to go through before we get started.
Okay.
So if you just follow along, I'll ask you a couple of questions along the way. Opening a hearing on case ID 2021-206, account 52692. This hearing is being recorded with the Appraisal Review Board. They'll be hearing your protest today. The board is around this table. Mike is the appraisal district representative. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using a survey form and emailed to ptad.communications@cpa.texas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do appreciate it if you take it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. You'll get a letter after this hearing is concluded that includes the summary of contents. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Do we have all your evidence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. And I will begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66.
I, Bill Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Scott Waggart, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. You have, I believe, taped to the table. Yes. If each one of you would read it, please.
I, Brostad, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board is true and correct.
I, Karen Brostad, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board is true and correct.
Thank you. Mike?
My name is Mike Sutter. I do solemnly swear affirm the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Do either of you hold a appraiser's license?
No.
Okay. On the table, there should be a piece of paper that shows the procedures for this hearing. And the times, you have a choice. You can go first, or Mike can go first. Which would you choose to do?
I'll go ahead and present and then
Okay.
I guess.
You have 5 minutes to state your case.
All right. We are currently the owners of the property at 151 Lantana Drive, which is the subject of the protest hearing, property ID 52692. The evidence I've supplied all comes from the Aransas County Appraisal District website. And the purpose of my protest is that our combined land and improvements value went up 67% over last year, from a value of $37,790 up to $63,290. And what you've got here, you're looking at these. I typed out my notes, so if you had to refer back to them. So when I opened my protest case, I cited the reason was the value was not fairly valued in relation to similar properties. We're in the Woodland Hills subdivision of Holiday Beach. All of the land has been reevaluated to the same levels, and I'll make some comments on the land a little further along. But the improvements portion of our assessment we are in a mobile home. It took the increase from 22,700 to 37,290, which is an increase of 63%. There's been no changes made to the property since we purchased it in September, so I failed to see why the valuation was increased so much. The improvement is a 1998 model mobile home with 1,120 square footage. My protest is because the appraised value increased by 63% on the home itself, aside from the land. My evidence, the next piece of property that I used as an example was 52074, which is at 17 St. Charles Loop East. The improvements on the property actually decreased from 27,810 in 2020 to 26,880 in 2021. This is also a 1998 model mobile home with 1,260 square footage, and that's on pages 3, 4, and 5 of my, sorry, I should have said page 2 was our home. 3, 4, and 5 is the copy out of the appraisal district for my first comparison. And then as you go through my packet, it's basically just 2 other properties that I've highlighted. If you want me to talk through and read the numbers, I can, or if that's redundant to you.
Well, you have 5 minutes, so.
Okay.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes.
So those, there's 3 that I have cited that are similar. The value of a mobile home on the land decreased in every other case except ours. It went down, 2 to 3 or 4%, which is standard for a mobile home, and ours jumped way up. The rest of the evidence that I have here compares a couple of lots in the west side of Holiday Beach that are similar size, and their values went up about 20%. Our land value in the mobile home side went up like 70%. So that was that's the basis for my protest, and I just would like some explanation on why especially the mobile home piece of it. I realize the land has all gone up around here, but I don't know that it's gone up 67% in 1 year, and I don't know that the mobile home values should be increasing for us that much in 1 year versus everybody else is going down. That's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Okay. Mike, you have 2 minutes for cross-examination and then 5 minutes for your presentation.
Equity is related to market value when only equity is checked. It's always related to equity around a specific market value in a specific neighborhood and the appropriate adjustments therein. And so in relation to that, I just want to verify that the subject property, when you bought it this last year, you bought it for $110,000.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. So we'll kind of just state that as a matter of fact. The subject property is currently assessed to the tune of $40,000 under that or somewhere in that range. Having said that, the burden of proof for the subject is just the equity. Specifically, what's different about this mobile home than other mobile homes? One of the questions that was asked was, what changed? It wasn't anything that they did. And I'll affirm it's nothing they did. It was something that the previous owner did in preparation for the sale. A new roof was put on, some other things that might have been done. We did an effective age of 10 years. Wasn't done anything by the property owners. They didn't do anything. They just purchased the property. That's all they did. The previous owner did these things. We saw the change and we made the change. Notice we're still $40,000 underneath that sale. We can't like make all the modifications to either the land or the improvements to even get close to that sale. There's no way. So did we use that as a marker to influence the whole neighborhood? Of course. Subject property owners have testified that the land went up. Land is congruent across the board. as a result of not only their sale, but other sales. I'm gonna show you what those are. Because in this case, market value is relevant to the subject of the discussion for equity. So you can see that the subject property sold for 110, but they weren't the only one, okay? This is relevant. Why is this relevant? Because market value drives the value that's applied to everybody, okay? This is another mobile home that sold for $73,000 in Grapevine, okay? This is another mobile home. This is a vacant, mobile home, is that VMHL? Vacant mobile home.
Verified.
Verified mobile home with land. That one sold for $49,000, okay? So these are not the only, these are mobile home sales in this area. 110, 78, 49. The median value for this is relevant, is 66,000. Now, why is that important? Because it's not 110. They bought it for 110, but we're not appraising it at 110. We're appraising it's, the median value down here is 66. They're appraised at 63. Okay. Now, moving on to equity, because we established the basis of why we moved everybody. Now, in comparison to their property, what are the differences? So in the equity grid, mobile home, mobile home, mobile home. What are these assessed at? 63, 46, 59. What are the differences? Well, there's differences in sizes. So like this particular one, it's less, but it's half the size of the lot. Okay. So there's a 5,000, there's an adjustment there of $13,000. Okay. What's another difference? Effective age. Well, this one's older, so there's a minus over here. But this one's smaller, so there's a plus over here. What does this one kick out to be? 64,000. Why is that important? Because we're not over assessing the subject. It's assessed at 63. Here's another equity comp. Holly Drive, okay? Another mobile home. 1120, 1152. Closer, right? The adjustment's not quite as big on the MA. In fact, the land is identical. There's no adjustment here. There's minor adjustments in decks and TPs and other things. Those all kick out a value of 64,000. Why is that important? Because we're not overassessing their property at 63. The next equity comp, another mobile home on Sweet Bay. What is it assessed for? 67,000. No adjustment on the land. Smaller than the subject by almost half. It's newer than the subject. There's an adjustment there. Renders a value of 63 and change. Number 4, St. Charles Loop. Again, 58,000 on that one. Land, identical square footage, identical value. So yes, we use those sales to enhance everybody's value out there. These are the differences. Smaller than the subject, there's an adjustment there. It's newer than the subject, so there's an adjustment there. Renders a value of 64. Why is that important? Because the subject property is assessed at 63,000. You'll notice all the comps are in that range. They're 63, 63, 64, 64. And the subject is at 63,290. It's a super tight grid. And we did it to everybody. 26,000, 26, oh, this is comp number 5, sorry. Another mobile home. This is 60,000. The median value 64, which supports the value. This is 5 comps, 5 other mobile homes in that neighborhood. 26,000, 26,000, 26,000. Only one of them had half a lot, and it was 13,000. So from an equity standpoint, super solid, super defensible. I could go into the sales ratio for the neighborhood if you wanted me to, or I'll answer any other questions that you want to hear.
No questions. Okay. Do you have rebuttal to his presentation?
I just have a couple questions.
2 minutes.
When you referred, are you saying because we paid, well, admittedly, we way overpaid for our home?
Yeah, by a large degree.
Circumstances around being beat out of several properties ahead of that drove us to that decision. So yes, we admittedly paid way too much for that house.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say that exact statement. Yeah.
So,
Today.
okay, so because we did, we have affected the entire neighborhood's taxes, is that what you're saying?
You're one of many. You're one of several sales. You weren't the only one.
Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Our taxes went up to just what she was saying, that's the
70%.
70%. Did those people's taxes go up 70%?
Without looking at every single one, I wouldn't know. I will tell you that the land went up commensurately.
I understand the land, sir.
Okay.
The trailers went out, my main concern was the trailer.
On
Why
the,
did all of a sudden it jump that bad?
Yeah, I don't understand the the effective year bill adjustment, why are, I mean. I think
that's a great question. Why did the
Why is
effective,
that
why did the
anything to
effective
do?
age jump? So I'm gonna throw a hypothetical and then I'm gonna relate it to yours, okay? Hypothetical, you have two identical homes that are 1,000 square feet. Picture in your mind, little white, this one's white, this one's black, but they're identical, right? This one's 1950, this one's 1950. From one year to the next, this guy over here puts new roof, new windows, new siding on his place. And then this guy does nothing. Are the values in the marketplace the same or different?
No, they should not be the same.
They're different. In the same case, yours was different. Not anything that you did, something that the property owner prepped in preparation for the sale they did to your home. We just saw it. It's a little more rudimentary because it's just a mobile home. It's not like our little house example, but that's what happened in essence.
Okay, Mike, you have 1 minute for closing?
In closing, what I would say is that,
Actually, sorry, you have,
rebuttal?
no, you have 1 minute in closing.
1 minute in closing? Okay. What I would say in closing is the burden of proof of the district to show equity. We showed equity, but we opened up with the whole premise of market value drives the market value in the entire neighborhood. It wasn't just to yours. It affected the land for the entire table, but you weren't the only one. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I did it to everybody. You plus other people did it to everybody. And that's okay. It's just, it is what it is, you know? And the great thing about the equity grid is it's so congruent. I mean, if you look at those values, you're not all over the place. They're all coming in at 63, 64, 63, 64, 60. The median value supports the value that we have on the property. And furthermore, what I'm really proud about this appraised value is that we're not at the 110 or even 70 or 80 or 90. We're at 63, and we think that that's really what that thing is worth.
All right. You have 1 minute for closing. Anything else you want to tell us?
No, I just, to Mike's comment, I would say is that I mean, that's a general comment. I don't think it's fair to the taxpayer to be able to, just because people are overpaying for homes all over the place. You know that right now. And just because we've overpaid because maybe we're stupid, I don't know, but you pay for something because it's what you want, and then you're taxed on that, and the poor guy down the street.
Are you from Texas or are you from another state?
No, we live in Texas.
Okay, so you're familiar with, it's 100% of market value. It's market value. It should be at market value. Yours is under market value. But having said that, we agree with you. You overpay by a large degree,
Yes.
but you're not being appraised at that market value. You're being appraised equitably with your neighbors. That's the point of the district anyway.
And I guess I have another question, is that we are not entitled to homestead because we have homestead on our regular home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
elsewhere.
if you have a house somewhere else and you have a homestead over there, you are not eligible.
And you're not eligible for the over 65 either, because that's part of the homestead, is that correct?
Yeah, you got that. Yeah, you have that right in
All
your.
right.
Okay, so it's our deliberation time.
We have to read what it is, for sure.
I don't really have anything here.
No, I think that's fine. My only question would have been to compare it against, or get some data against their the comps that they had highlighted.
I thought about that, but theirs are even,
We're saying
same.
ours.
Are their comps
A lot of them are
five
the
S,
same.
5S16 also?
They used a lot of the district comps.
the land is 26,880.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay. All right. I'm fine.
Okay.
Make a motion? Yeah, right. So on case ID 2021-206, account number 52692, when considering Q2, the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of appraisal or equity value, the board is going to leave the 2021 appraised value at $63,290.
Second.
In favor?
All right.
Okay. We're done. Case closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
I know we have more people out there, so.
Uh-huh.
Mobile homes have a separate rating or class.
Yes.
It isn't just mobile home.
So mobile homes go from 1 to 10 also or 9.
They go to one to 6. Instead of 1 to 7, they go from 1 to 6. That's just, again, I wasn't here at that time when they set up the initial classes.
That'd be a tough one to do, but
Mr. Bartel is here.
Hey, guys. Howdy. How are
You want
y'all?
to have a seat right there at that
Sit
table?
over here, okay. How are y'all doing today? Good. Great. You'll have to forgive me, this is my first time to do anything like this, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
okay, we'll just walk you
So
through
bear
it.
me. Just,
I told you no, we're nice, so be nice.
That's good.
It's 216-24994.
216.
Signage, that's what you're gonna use.
oh, okay.
Okay. Mr. Bartel, we've got some administrivia to go through.
Okay.
If you follow along with us, I'll ask you a couple of questions along the way. We're opening a hearing on case ID 2021-216, account 24994. This hearing is being recorded with the Appraisal Review Board. They'll be hearing your protest today. The board is at the table in the center here. Mike is the district representative.
How are you doing, sir? Great, Mike. How are you?
We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. The survey may be completed using a survey form, which we have here, or an email to pcad.communications@cpatexas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. You'll be getting a letter with a summary of this meeting
Okay, great.
after it's closed.
Understood.
In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. This refers to evidence. All of your evidence has been turned in, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. And I'll begin with I, Charlie Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with a person in violation of tax code 41.66F.
I, Bill Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Scott Wager, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. And you have the Turn it on the table there. Could you read that, please?
Yes, I, Randall Bartel, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board is true and correct.
Thank you.
Soto, do solemnly swear affirm the testimony shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true, correct?
Mr. Bartel, do you hold a appraiser's license in the state of Texas?
No.
Okay,
No, sir.
okay. Also on the table is a page. I'll let you finish. As you can see, there's two columns there. Would you like to begin first, or Mike, you like to go
I'll
first?
go first.
All right.
This
You have
is
5
pretty,
minutes.
yeah, this is pretty easy. It won't take 5 minutes, I assure you. Look, I'm not here to tell you that this property is not worth more than $488,000. I agree with you on that, no problem. Where I'm at with it is my wife and I purchased this home in October 30th of last year, okay? And we purchased it for $609,000. But we purchased this home completely furnished. And I've got all the pictures for insurance purposes. I'm an insurance agent, okay? And I took insurance pictures. Okay, now there's exterior pictures as well, but you guys obviously have those, so I didn't put them there. My point is, in speaking with Mr. Locker, I've become a friend with him. I actually purchased the home from him. And his thought to me was, hey, you know, Randy, you purchased this home, you purchased it fully furnished, and we've got an addendum here showing that I did buy it with furniture in it. Now, it says it's $1 because no bank's gonna give me money for a sofa, all right, or furniture within the house, so you get that. They took 9 items with them, 7 of them being art pieces, 2 headboards. Folks, they left the toilet paper. It was incredible. So all I'm asking is to try to meet in the middle somewhere. What I think this home is worth is about $200 a foot. If I had to rebuild it myself, I could probably build it for less than that, but that's what it would be. So that's where I'm at with it. Again, I'm not here to argue that it's worth more than 488, but I don't feel like it's worth 606. So that's where that's my only argument. And I'm showing you everything that's here. This is my hand, and it shows you where, you know, it says selling mostly furnished because they did take 9 items with them. And really, that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Mike, you have 2 minutes for cross-examination and then 5 minutes for your presentation.
His property last year. Yeah, 2 minutes as far as cross-examine. In reviewing your documents, and subject property owners indicated that he's an insurance agent or is in insurance business. On addendum number 1, the reason that it says 1 is because the property was sold at 609, and most probably in the personal, you have on a settlement statement, the very top line is the sales price. And so without having submitted that, I'm just going to ask you, what was that top line of you?
It was 609,000.
609.
Yes.
Line item number 2 is personal property that everybody knows about. Was there anything in that line?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll
You
try
don't
to
know
find
how
out
to
with
answer
you.
that, is that what you said?
No, I don't know the answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
And most probably because of this non-realty items addenda that apportioned $1, it would be $1 or less. I'm just gonna say that in my experience of 15 years, the reason that you don't do that is because you have an appraiser that says that real estate is worth 609 or something they're close, and the property owner would have to come up with a difference. The banks, the lending institution is who it is. But the appraiser is going to just appraise the realty, okay? He's not gonna appraise the personal property therein. So although these items were left, and it was kind of like, hey, there's some added value here, wink, wink, you can have it. It's kind of the sweeten the deal. What we're talking about is market value of real estate, and the property sold for 609. So that's an important distinction. You'll notice that the selling price actually says 609. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. The last list that I actually see is 598. in our other documents in my deal, was it 598 and you just gave a little bit more for the stuff inside? Because that's okay if you did that.
His original asking price was $619. I know that.
Okay.
And we originally were going to, it's kind of funny you say that, because we were originally going to offer $598. And for some reason, in working with Sherilyn Hunt, she works for Loose Property, she was my realtor. And she said, Randy, you're not going to get it at $598. You're going to have to put a little more money in. And I said, okay, well, what if we go basically 10 more, we do 609, and that's what we went at, that's where we sold, that's where we bought.
Sure. Well, that's all I want to use for my cross time. The last thing that I see on realtor.com is just, it's not last list, it's the estimate at 598 and change. So again, I'm glad that you told me it was 609. Unfortunately, you can't consider things that are not on line item 102. If they're listed on line item 102 and it says 609 and you had $9,000 on line item 2, then the real price is 600,000 in that hypothetical that I just gave. So having said that, let me just go and just the thing under protest is not market value, it's only equity. Is that correct, sir? Is it 02?
No, market.
Market.
Oh, it's only
Not
market.
equity.
It's only
Not
market.
equity, so it's just market. Okay. So obviously, subject property owners indicated to be paid 609. What do we have on the subject property? We have 606 on the subject property, just underneath that cell. Was this sale price of the subject property influenced by the market value transaction? Absolutely. Was it one of many? Absolutely. We're going to go into other cells. It's not just his cell, it's other cells in Key Allegro. You're not just the only one. Other people are buying stuff too. I don't even know where we are here.
Aloha.
Aloha, it's right. It's on this street right here.
Do I talk again somewhere?
Yeah, you're gonna get a rebuttal time for sure. Or get to ask me questions, and stuff. It'll be good.
Is it true though that when an appraiser goes to a property, he knows what that property is selling for, and he makes sure that it appraises properly?
They're not supposed to, but yes, they do. Obviously.
Come on. All right.
No, the answer is yes. The
Yeah,
answer is
absolutely
absolutely
it's
yes.
Okay.
And they're not supposed to be influenced by that.
But
Okay, but here's
they
my,
create a big problem if they don't.
yeah, of course, for
Okay.
lending institutions.
That's all.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all good.
But I'm not that appraiser. I'm a mass appraiser, which looks at not just that sale, but all of the sales and tries to apportion them out. Okay, so you're not the only one. 609 is the subject. Obviously, there's no adjustment. Here's another one on Mazatlan that sold for 640. You can look at the differences in both the classification. It's a better class, but it's a little bit smaller. The effective age is of the comp is newer. The adjustment on that one, if you come down, that's 651 on that particular property. Go to the next one. Comp number 3 is 9 Curlew. Land is close on that one. Class is identical. Within here, you have just 200 feet difference. It's newer than the subject. When you look at all of the different docks and decks and boat lifts and whatever this one has that this one doesn't, this one's showing 597 and change. The last one is on 3 Bahama. That one sold for 650, 5ST, 5SS, 2700, 2400, 1996, 205. Again, go down. That one appraises out at 617 and change. So you can see the styles of the homes that are there. The subject property owner is not the only one that bought stuff there this year. I don't know if we have another. No, that just goes into equity. So is the market value for the subject property important? Yes, of course. Is he the only one? Not by a long shot. The value that we can support on the subject property is 613. He's only appraised at 603. Subject sold for 609. I can show you the overall ratio on the Key Allegro if you want to look at that, but otherwise it's there. Wow, you're right at 100%.
Okay. So, Mr. Bartel, you have
He's in his cross.
He's in his cross time. So 2 minutes of cross-examination.
Yeah, all I've got is, after speaking to Mr. Walker, we've become friends after this transaction. He now lives over on Malibu. His selling price to me would have been $550 had he not sold it fully furnished. So there's that. I don't have anything in writing. I don't have anything.
I'm sorry, he said would have sold it at $550,
At $550.
but he was asking $600.
And that's my barking that's what I'm telling you about the appraisal thing. Is that house gonna appraise for $650 if I sell it tomorrow? Of course it is. And I don't disagree with you.
Right, I don't.
And you don't disagree with me.
Yeah.
It sucks because it's in the middle, you know, and again, you know, I don't know, Tim's been real good to me and straight with me, and that would have been the selling price.
Yeah, the thing about Mr. Locker is that he was in here, is that right, Ray? It was A or B decision? So he was in here petitioning to this board to get it lower last year before he put it on the market to you, so. For what it's worth, he convinced a board to go to 448. We weren't at 448. He convinced a board to go to 448, so. And then he turned around and sold it to you for 609. So I don't know as far as believability of Mr. Walker or whatever.
488.
480.
488.
Yeah, 488. Sorry, not 440. You're right.
That's all I have.
What's next?
Okay. So Mike, you have 1 minute to close, and then you'll have a minute to close.
Yeah, I don't have anything further. He and I don't disagree. We understand that a fee appraisal is first of all, they're gonna know where it's trying to transact at. They have their own set of standards. A mass appraiser just looks at it after it's done. And then they not only look at the subject, but they're looking at everything in the entire neighborhood. So one of the things that you did look up, sales ratio for the entire county, not county, the sales ratio for Key Allegro was right at 1%. So that means, yeah, they're gonna have some sales that are high, some sales that are low, but as a broad brush stroke, we're trying to do it equally. That's it.
Okay. So you have 1 minute to tell us any final.
No, I appreciate you listening to me today. And again, I just asked to meet in the middle somewhere. I truly did. I realize it's worth more than 48, but I feel like it's not 606. So there we go.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Quick question, I didn't hear the comment on the appraisal, you had the house appraised, what is the appraisal?
Well, the price for 609.
They don't have to appraise for the price they ask.
No, they don't have to, but 99% of the time.
Especially if there's a bank involved, that's normally, we have problems with that, I'm just curious as a
Yes,
real.
ma'am. Sure. No, thank you. I appreciate your time. It's my first time to do anything like that. I've learned a little bit. And thank you. Again, no argument, man.
Yeah,
We're on two different sides. It is what it is. It's good. So that's all I've got.
I'm good with that. Mike, you might want to explain to Mr. Bartell that some of the things we learned last year, that furnishings really don't, even if you do consider the value of them, that they're pennies on the dollar kind of thing. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah, you know, the subject property owner testified that he had a conversation subsequent to the sale. I don't doubt that he's telling you what he's saying is like, I mean, I would have sold it to you for $550. You're like, crap, man. You know, it would have been like, that's $59,000. I don't know that I would pay $59,000 for the stuff you left, right? Maybe.
But here's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at going and trying to furnish a home like that,
Yeah.
shit, it's close to $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was I ecstatic that he was leaving the stuff? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it could have
for
cost
sure.
me a fortune. So, yeah, I get both, again, I get
Yeah.
both sides of it. Is it worth 75? That's what he thinks. Would I have bought everything that was in there? Probably not.
Yeah, it is.
You get it.
If you ever do it again, just to work the lines, it's easier and more efficient if you do it as non-realty items as an addendum to the contract.
And we did that, but the problem was if you put,
But your sales prices was $609. So that's what you paid, including the furnishings.
Yeah,
I'm saying if you have an addendum to the contractor and reduce the sales price by the amount of the furniture, pay for the furniture separately, you're way better off.
oh, I see what you're saying.
You mentioned something about just putting $1 or something like that on a second line. Why was that?
The reason there was $1 there is because the bank is not going to lend money on the addendum, on the non-realty items.
They won't. I mean, it's just a firea kind of thing. They just won't do it.
It's tough
Fannie
for
Mae, Freddie
somebody,
Mac,
because
they're
you
just
don't,
not gonna do it.
on the other hand, for what you're saying, I don't really want to let go of that cash either. You know what I
No,
mean?
there's an upside.
You get
to
Yeah,
both.
there's-
It just
there's,
depends on which side.
Upside, downside, yeah, that's right. So,
What I will say, Mr. Bartel, if you have any questions in the future about anything going on in Aransas County about property, we're always a source for that.
oh,
So
man, I appreciate that. And everybody's been great here. I mean, again, it's my maiden voyage here. I mean, you know, and how can you not go and at least present your case? Yeah, I have to try. So,
Okay, I'll make a motion then on case ID 2021-216, account number 24994, when considering Q1 incorrect appraisal of market value, that we leave the value at its current 2021 value of $606,110.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Bartel, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
By the way, the ETUX on your deed or your listing.
I know what it is now.
It's Latin.
It's Latin. I didn't know that until the other day. All right.
And also.
Yeah.
You know your way out.
And also.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Is it and also or and others?
And also.
Okay.
All right, our next one is by affidavit.
I took one.
Okay.
It's case 93. The account number is 8809901.
There were a bunch of them.
Yes, Moldy is the one that's presenting.
That's the management.
What are we doing?
It's
It is
93.
93. It looks like it has a lot
Oh,
because it's,
93.
Is it the diocese thing?
yes,
Yeah, so it's on three,
there's
page 3 and 4.
undivided interest,
Page 3 and 4. Oh.
but it's only by affidavit.
Yeah, well, there's three entries. You get it?
So it should all be the same case numbers, all pretty much just one.
Okay, so we'll hear them as one, not
Yes.
3 different, okay.
Yeah, it's one property, it's just has different interests for owners.
Oh, I got you. 20%, 33%.
And who is presenting?
The diocese Moldy or,
Mulvey?
yes,
Yeah, Michael Mulvey,
Mhm.
the bishop or something like that. At least that's the name associated with it.
The affidavit is from the property manager.
Where did you make your decision?
he's a-
The church was involved.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I did see the clouds and lightning starting to
Yeah.
gather.
Be careful.
Yes, right.
yeah, no pressure.
There's only locust in your future.
They're saying no it's because it's a religious, no
Guys,
pressure, guys.
guys.
Just make sure you make the right
Just
choice.
do your duty.
All right, whenever y'all are ready, let's go.
Where's the affidavit?
It's right in front. I've got it.
You want to see the actual paper?
You got it? Okay, opening a hearing on
It's right here.
case ID 2021-93, account number 8809901. This is by affidavit. Hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing the protests today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written material is assumed to have been provided with the affidavit. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest. They're signing an affidavit to that effect. And I will begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I got the top one. So, swear that I always have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Bill Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath.
My name is Michael Soto. Do solemnly swear affirm the testimony shall present to the Prison Review Board for the Aransas County Prison District. Correct.
District Representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
I'm going to read with the affidavit and the letter attached. Aransas County Appraisal District, 2021. It gives an account number 0848-216-026-001. That is the geo identification number associated with the property. The Most Reverend William Michael Mulvey, Bishop Diocese of Corpus Christi, and it gives some other addresses there. The property description is 850 Jacoby Lane, Aransas Pass, Texas 78336. Burton and Danforth, Block 216, Lot 26. Incorrect appraised market value, see attached. Let's see. I do not intend to appear at the hearing either by in-person or telephone call. Signed in the County of Nueces, Deacon Michael Mulvey, Mounts, before Glenda Hundley. And then they signed the self-disclosure, and then behind that, they put it in the deed associated with this for the 1/2 undivided interest of the following described real property, 5 acres in tract 216, abstract number 26, fully described in volume 23 of 43 deed records, Aransas County. So they're just describing this deed, the subject property, and there's the seal on the next page there. Litigation, payoff, transmission, middle, line, Barger, Guggen, and Blair and Sampson LLP. To Deacon Michael Mance. This is dated 5/12/21. It's looking at the costs for Aransas County and the court costs and abstract fees. Please make check payable to Aransas County Tax Office. The total amount of the following addresses. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Delinquent tax on remaining undivided interest. So then their protest form actually says, it actually says 20625 is 50%, and then 41250 is 100%. I'm going to read both. I'm going to read this cover letter first, which is dated the 12th of May, and then I'm going to read the May 3rd cover letter as well. I'm going to read it all. Okay. Property Department, Appraisal Review Board, notice of protest, Burton and Danforth, Block 216, Lot 26, undivided interest. Dear board members, I believe Aransas County Prison has done a very good job in terms of market value and equalization. Factually, I cannot dispute their finding or methodology. I do, however, feel like some consideration should be given to the fact that property is an undivided interest and with a delinquent tax liability of $18,000 on the other portion. I believe this to be an encumbrance to the property as a whole. Both of these conditions make it extremely difficult to market this property. I ask the appraisal district to use a modifier on our undivided portion to reflect the difficulty in actually selling this property. The diocese proposes that a 20% modifier be applied to reflect the undivided interest and negative impact of having a delinquent tax encumbrance on the other 50%. The adjusted value would be $33,000. And then there's a calculation, it's 82,500 times 50% equals 41,250. And then 80% of that would be 33,000. Thank you for your consideration to this matter. The other paper that is presented is the Diocese of Corpus Christi, Ray. And it's the memorandum dated the 3rd of May. It says, from Deacon Michael Mance, PID 14301, notice of appraised value. This undivided interest was deeded to the Diocese of Corpus Christi in the state of Charles West Neal in 1988. We received 50% of the undivided interest. The undivided interest is not marketable. The other 50% is owned by two individuals who have not paid their property tax in several years running. The individuals and investors are not interested in purchasing the percentage interest with taxes due on the remaining acreage. So individuals and investors, are not interested in purchasing the percentage interest with taxes due on the remaining acreage. I'm requesting the appraisal district take into consideration the unmarketability of this undivided interest. I'm asking that the value be placed at $20,625. This value realizes a 10% increase in market value from $37,000 to $41,250 times 50% undivided interest for that equal undivided interest equals $20,625. And this is dated May 3rd. Attached is the notice of appraised value, the 2021 appraised value. Attached to that is information regarding electronic protest. And then behind that is the deed in which they were given the 1/2 interest that I've already referred to. And therein lies the subject property owner's affidavit of evidence.
I picture a rock and hard place.
Yeah,
I mean, this is,
I'm waiting for the light bulb to go off here.
I am too. I mean, I understand that taxes due, but
Right, so I haven't even gone into my cross time yet, but I can do that.
I don't understand what they're asking.
Yeah, I can use my cross time to try to help mitigate, explain. Bill owns a property, he owns it 100%, right? Owns a property. You own the property across the street, but you only own, you both own 50% of the property on this side of the street. So Robert and Kathy own 50% of the one right across the street. If that claim were true, that I would be taxing them at something less than you, would you be upset because of their undivided interest claim? So if you were at $100,000, this lot was at $100,000, and I appraised them at $80,000 for a 20% discount, would you be upset just because they're jacked up in their undivided interest claim? Should you be appraised higher than they should?
Surely not. That's where the light bulb just went off.
That's the claim.
Okay.
That's the claim. That's it in a nutshell. It's a little bit more encumbrance. Instead of two people, it's three people. And one of them owns 50 and the other two own 50. So one of them owns 33, 33 and 16. So in this example, you own the 100% of the one across the street. These three people own the other one on this side of the street. This is the diocese. They own 50%. Robert owns 33 and change. You own 16 and change. So in our situation, we appraise this one, hypothetical world, we appraise this one at 100, we appraise this one at 100. We don't care the undivided interest. And we shouldn't, we can't. By law, we can't treat this person differently than that person on a basis of ownership claim, okay? So that's it in a nutshell. Now, having said that, what are they bringing to you? What are they bringing to you? They actually said in their statement, Aransas County has done a good job in market value and equalization, which they don't dispute. They actually use the words, I think they use the words, we do not dispute or something like
they
that.
said they don't really dispute the
Okay,
overall
so
value.
they're not disputing market value. They're just making a claim that this is, hey, those guys aren't taking care of their stuff. Yes, we don't disagree. The appraisal district doesn't disagree with that. Now, what's the remedy? The remedy is not under your purview or my purview. The remedy is in quit claim titles, it's adverse possession, it's all of those things.
That's why I don't think this even falls into the category of
Why are we listening?
appraised market value. Why are we even doing this?
Well, because it was petitioned to the appraisal district, you have to hear the case. Like, you don't have a choice.
But we
But-
can't render a decision.
Well, you can render a decision based on market value. You cannot.
I'm not disputing.
You have to either, like, their claim is that their claim is that this side of the street should be treated differently than that side because this has an undivided interest and this is whole fee simple interest. And that's their whole argument. So now that I've done that, The burden of proof for market value, because market value was checked, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now the burden of proof of market value still lies on the district, and I'm gonna go in my evidence.
Getting there.
This isn't.
Okay, now, again, you'll see that this is one of the children that's not, or this is one of the child accounts, not children. Well, this is one of the child accounts that's not paying, apparently. This is the 33.4, and that one has a value of 27 and change over here. This one is
Oh, that's the parent.
this is the parent account. So this is where all the values carried. So this is this whole value of 82.5. I will remind you that the property owner that brought the protest said, we feel like Aransas County doing a great job with market value and equalization, okay? So they feel good about this now.
Okay.
The next one is the other child account that's not paying. This is the other 16 and change percent of undivided interest, okay? This one is the one that brought the claim, the protest. These are the people that are paying on time, apparently, they're paying on time, and they say, hey, those other people need to do stuff. Okay, so these are the cards. This is the property. Again, even in our own stuff, this is why I wanted to go through this whole exercise. Even in our own market value, we cannot support the value of 82.5. We can only support the value of 73,825. So in the claim that he makes a 20% discount or whatever, in my opinion, the ARB should never do that. I would never do that. The ARB should not listen to that claim. Having said that, what is this thing worth? 73,825. That's the best I can prove. So you should agree with the property owner, at least to this degree, but no more about the undivided interest. These are the other sales I have in the area. Equity was not presented. 73,000 is the best I can prove on the 82.5. Now you would say to me, why do you have it at 82.5 if you can only press, you can only prove 73? Because the latest sale is 93.5. It's above that. It's 93.5. That's the latest 1/1 of 21. That's why.
Where is it?
Aransas Pass in Jacoby area.
Okay.
Yeah. It was applied to everybody, so that's all I've got.
Okay.
Our decision is really easy. All we do is lower the value to 73,825 and don't invest it. We don't divide interest.
Right.
Right, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You call the cops.
Take it to court.
But Blake
I
clarified
guess-
that, so,
Yeah, let's move this along and then,
yeah.
let's move this along and then I have a question after it's done.
Which,
You apply value to the parent property, and whatever the percentages work out to, they work out to. You don't have to worry about it. You just,
We don't have to do any math.
the 82.5,
which is the parent?
Yeah, it's not shown here.
the parent, it's right up
It's the
top.
church.
Well, it is. You showed it, but it's not on anything that we see.
880-9901.
Yes, it is.
880
9901.
9901.
Oh, I see.
I got that.
And it has a
It
value,
says 50% underneath it.
and it has a value of,
Then underneath that is
Yeah.
Neil, and he has 33.4.
Yeah.
And
So,
on the next page.
what we're
John
saying is-
Neal,
yeah, what the district is saying is that
16.6.
we had 82.5, we can only prove 73 and change. My recommendation is that the ARB goes to the 73 and change. And that's,
it.
and then you don't have to worry about a calculation. It's done in the system.
No, we don't have to worry about the undivided interest either.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you would say that the apportionment of the value of 73,500 would be 50% of that value. If you want to say that in your motion, you can do that.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want to go there.
No.
But that's the reason it's done to the parent account.
So, and does somebody have to communicate to these other two parties about that,
No,
about the change?
Because, okay, so like in this experience, she's the big sister that got the 50%, and you're the second child and you're the third child. Because she protested, she goes, hey guys, we won. And they go, oh, great. you didn't have to do anything, you didn't have to do anything, you get a lower value. It's the way it works.
Right.
It's the way it works.
Yeah, but
But she holds King's Ace on the properties, so she could inevitably take those properties away from those two and settle it, because they still owe the taxes, I guess.
It's not even because she owns King's Ace. Like if she owned 10% and this guy owned 40 and this guy owned 50,
She has 50.
but I know, but let's say it was the other way around, but she was paying and they weren't. She still can do the adverse possession on them. She has the easier claim.
But that's not our problem.
Who's gonna do you guys will do the math on these sub-accounts?
Yes, that's correct.
50%, 33.4, and the 16.6.
That is correct. You don't have to worry. You just have to make a decision on the base parent account
Right.
on market value, and the rest is done.
I'll take a stab at that. So case ID 2021-93, account number 8809901. When considering Q1 incorrect appraised market value, I move that the board reduce the overall total value of this property from $82,500 to $73,825.
You said, does it have to be multiple of 10? Oh, okay.
It's one account.
I thought your dollar amounts had to be in increments of 10. 8.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please round to the
Okay.
nearest to the
$10, okay. Then the reduced appraised value would be $73,820.
Make it
Okay,
For our
Second.
trouble.
second, in favor?
Aye.
That was a
Yeah, we
good
could
one.
typically knock $9 off.
But everybody understood it after I went through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You-
right.
you
The
won't
light
forget.
bulb finally went off.
Yeah, you won't,
Thanks for that.
you won't.
Yeah.
What was the other number? 73?
$73,820.
820.
Now imagine being a young appraiser in year number 1.5, and then you run across one of those. That'll scramble your mind.
smoke coming out of the ears. Okay.
Next,
That's wild.
Let's go see what we got.
But I'm sure it happens all the time.
Well, we read an affidavit, which means there's nobody else here.
No, I'm saying I'm sure these situations happen fairly often. especially with-
Oh, you mean people
Family.
that don't pay on
Family.
everybody? That's the
Family.
worst offenders, yeah.
it's a moment.
It is.
Yeah, it's one thing if they were
Nothing else.
family, but having the church involved, I mean, these people. are
Nothing
really
else until 3.
So tell me,
Yeah, you gotta have 30
if one of those entities, doesn't matter, I guess which one, stops paying taxes, will eventually the county say, hey, this property as a whole is delinquent on taxes. We're gonna start foreclosure or whatever.
They can't sell the undivided 50% interest. They can sell the other 33 and the other 16 and change. They can sell the delinquent ones, but they can't sell the other.
But the one that's paying
Okay.
taxes.
So you can't sell the whole thing. All right.
But when it happens like that, usually the person that owns the other interest is the first guy at the county courthouse. And he's getting the other 50% interest at the delinquency cost. Because
Right.
usually they're just trying to get their taxes back, to get it back in some whole ownership,
Right.
to get it feeding correctly moving forward. That's usually how it works.
And nobody else would buy the undivided.
Maybe, yeah, like,
To the bishop.
okay, so if it
Maybe
goes,
on a building.
yeah, if it's on a building for sure, but if it's, even if it's vacant land, there's a period of reclamation that like the 33% owner, the 63% owner can go back for a certain number of years. But they have to pay what they pay for it plus a percentage. So if I'm interested, like the diocese has the best, property owner number 1 that has 50% has the best claim.
25 Ds.
And they're probably gonna be the one that wants to buy it first, but if I wanted it,
Under 41.
because I'm paying I'm paying $18,000 for something that's worth half of 80. 40,000, there's a 20, there's $20,000 delta there. I'm gonna get in on that. So maybe I pay 22 or 24 or 30 to get that 10. Now, obviously, the diocese doesn't want that, they just want to pay the 18 and be done with it. But if I want to get that delta, maybe I can afford to get that 10,000 in that exchange. That happens too.
And since this was donated, it sounded like.
Are you free right now?
Yeah.
Always something new and different.
Yeah.
I do, I can just take it.
So we only, we got
We may have something at 3, but
one,
we're not until 3.
3, 4, 4 here shown, but, okay, no telling how many actually have.
Actually show up. Yeah.
Sort of, it's not right, they're showing.
Yeah.
That was
That's the first time I've seen one of those.
first moved here. Every sale, sheriff's sale,
What is it?
for about 8 months,
I'm trying to pick up the property.
until I figured out how it worked. It's like, oh, I expect to have this. This is silly, because you could get down to the last hour, and somebody would come in and pay the taxes. And you never got it. It could have been the property owner, could have been a family member of the property owner.
Somebody owns the property.
Yeah, I know. A shell corporation of the bank that held the lien, because there was always like an insurance company that was a shell corporation of the bank, or a holding company. Not the bank itself, because they can't own property. But it would be some, or an officer. A lot of times, sometimes an officer would get wind of it and he would figure out how to make that work. But poor old me, you know, just standing there wanting to buy a neat little lot someplace in South Rockport for a couple of $3,000 that's worth more. Nah, I didn't have a shot at it. I looked at one that was really cool, and I really thought I'd get it. It was, where are we? Just back over this way, going towards the water treatment plant. I don't remember the names of the streets, like Racine and Moline. Racine and Moline run parallel to each other, and this particular property had frontage on Moline and Racine, and it would have gone through. It got both pieces. And it had an ancient mobile home on it, and trash, and weeds, and all this stuff. And I figured it was probably going to cost about $20,000 just to scoop up all that garbage and haul it to the dump. And damn, some of that, they didn't come in at that very last minute and pay the taxes on it. I thought, why would they do that? Because our friend across the street has a little RV park. And she wanted it gone because she didn't have to look at it. It's a mom and pop. And I was just going to build like a barn dominium on the back and little stilt house in the front and sell it all as one piece. And you could drive your boat and truck into the barn dominium in the back, and then come out the other side, leave it all hooked up, and then go back to wherever it is you come from, and just leave it all, you know, for a fishing cabin for somebody. That's about, I think that was the last one that I gave up. All this message, somebody trying to buy a bargain. But I was new to town. I didn't know how things work.
What year did you move? What year did you move?
2017, 2 months before Harvey.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
I was a little off.
Did you have shutters and stuff or not?
Yeah, we had a brand new house. We put hurricane impact windows.
Or you built it?
Yeah, we had zero damage. Literally, I'll take it back.
And trees.
We had a lot of tree damage. We lost 4 or 5 big trees and it damaged the 4 or 5 others. But when one of them fell, it literally scratched our new house on the face.
board.
So I jokingly say we scratched our new house, just like, the first scratch on a new car. It's like,
Is it Harvey?
Harvey, yeah.
Where's your house?
It's in Country Club at the end of Champions, 426.
Yeah.
And we're dead ends there in the Forest Hills.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in Coconut Cove. And it's kind of interesting because we had actually little damage per se, structural damage to the house. The tornadoes ripped off the shutter.
The storm surge.
Well, that's what's interesting. Okay, where we are at, we're actually on Salt Lake, and there's one channel that goes out from Salt Lake into Coconut.
Know it well.
Huh?
I know it well.
Yeah, we are right across from that channel, and I don't think I had 3 foot of water rise from surge. And the only thing we could figure is, if you think of this channel here and the house is down here, there's a little bit of Salt Lake to down this way, but the main part of Salt Lake goes way around the back.
There's plenty of room for that water to move.
And I figured the water came in and just spread out left and right and hammered the people in the back, and
Right.
especially folks on channels, because
Okay.
there was no place for the water surge to go.
Runs into a dead end.
Yeah.
Something you
And
said.
from what I remember, right there, as that channel comes through, there's a property that has like a huge slope. It's like a built-up slope with a really nice yard that goes way up. So all of that side, that whole, seems like it would block the big wave that was coming in. I don't, there's a bulkhead and then the land that's
So we
over there.
had the siding that I have on the house is rock.
Oh, okay.
Aside from, some cedar up on the eaves and things like that. And any of the walls that face the water were saturated.
Okay.
And the only thing you can figure is the wind blew water up in the soffits, through the soffits,
Wow.
and then back down through the wall.
Okay.
That storm did a lot of weird stuff. Did a lot of weird, did lots of
Up
weird
in that
things.
area where you were, that the storm actually sucked the water out of the bay and then spit it back in again.
Yeah.
Not only did it do it
We
in
heard
Coconut,
that.
it did it in Little Bay also.
Okay.
Little Bay was completely, not dry, obviously, because it's mud.
Yeah, but
It went completely bare.
Well, the water in the harbor didn't go up more than about
Yeah,
2 feet.
we were
few
watching on
inches.
the
Because we-
cameras. and
Yeah, we
stuff.
watched it on they had a water level gauge over there at the time.
We
And
were
we
talking,
watched it from Virginia.
oh, wow.
We were in Virginia at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
And we watched it from up there, watched the water gradually come up to a little over 2 feet. Because my boat was in the slip, and I only left 2 feet of slack in the lines.
Okay.
No lines broke.
So we were talking about Benny Arispe. Benny the kid is married to our next door neighbor's child.
The girl,
I'm sorry.
the girl.
I don't know. Benny's, I don't remember, daughter. I think that's the way it is. There's two. And they live in California. And that's crazy. But Benny had bought a 40-foot ancient Chris-craft, and he was going to rebuild it because, his history is that he was a commercial fisherman for a long time. So he bought this ancient old Chris-craft.
A constellation.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Wasn't
It
it
wasn't.
Tony?
It wasn't as cool as that. No,
Wasn't
it was
it
more of an '80s, maybe an '83, '84, '85, something like that. Fiberglass. Looked like a little 30-foot, little 28 Bertram or something like that. But anyway, he left it at our next door neighbors, Pat and the Lascanos, allowed him to dock it back there while he was rebuilding this boat. And of course, it never ran. It never did anything. It was Benny. He just would have guys over there and they would work and sweat and tinker with it. And they take it out and it'd get just out of sight and then there'd be somebody dragging it back. So here comes Hurricane Harvey, and everybody is doing the best they can with getting everything battened down, and they're screwing with the stupid boat. And he takes it out in the middle of Little Bay by the Harbor Oaks Bridge and throws out an anchor. Calls it good. Well, I'm humping stuff down the stairs and loading 4 cars to get out of there. And I look over, and that boat has drifted back towards Hatton Modesto's dock. So they were gone, so I called them on the phone and I said, so here's the deal. Benny just threw one anchor out and it's now drifting, and it's fixing to run into your dock. And it hadn't even started blowing yet. This is 2 days before Harvey.
Yeah.
3 days probably. And she called, she throws a fit. So he takes it farther on down, but still out behind, and he throws 3 anchors out. Calls it good. I didn't have time to mess with him anymore. I secured what we could, and then we took off. Come to find out, when the water got sucked all the way out to Little Bay and Canoe Lake, and when it came roaring back in, it picked up his boat, somehow took it across, all the way across from our side, the Heroic side of Little Bay, all the way over and sat it on the beach park. Wow. Where the skimmers rest.
Right.
Yeah. It sat it in the sand on the other side across all those long piers.
Yeah.
Never hit a one of them. It was sitting basically unscathed, except for the fact that it just picked it up and set it down
Yeah.
a mile away easily. That's a mile from there. I don't know how far that is, but it's a long ways. It's the length of Key Allegro
Yeah.
and across Liggett, and
Okay.
sat it on the
Yeah.
beach on the beach, not in the water, on the beach.
Now, how much water rise did you guys have for surge and
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
Because we have a friend that was staying with us in Leclerc over up there during the storm, and she has a house on Water Street.
Oh, geez.
But just north. Well, the wind probably was bad, but surge wise,
No, man.
it came over the road maybe, but that was about it.
No, we had little or no surge. It didn't come up even close to it didn't even come close to our back door, which is way below mean tide or whatever all that stuff is. It didn't come anywhere close to that. It did pick our little boat.
We were real lucky with that. We had gotten that
Okay,
storm,
talking about 2 feet
that would've been-
of slack in your plans.
Well, I
I probably only had 2 or 3 feet of slack.
I feel lucky
It
because
picked it up,
I've had high
yanked
tides.
piling up out of the mud,
Uh,
hit the
yeah.
boat,
And
sunk.
again, the tornadoes.
And I didn't find it for 3 months
Probably
because it was underwater.
more damage.
It was underwater and the water was so
You'd look
murky,
across our
I never
street and
couldn't
there'd be
figure out where it was.
There
house,
were
house,
several
house,
pulled up.
minor, no,
They were just too
little,
tight.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the
mine was
house
too
is
tight.
just pancaked. I mean,
But it
there's,
still left like.
you can't, there's no
couple of feet of
walls,
slack,
no,
but-
no roof, you can't tell anything, right?
How do you
Well,
know?
When I left, it wasn't even a hurricane.
No, we left.
No,
It wasn't
it wasn't
even a tropical storm
No.
yet. They were saying it was gonna be a tropical storm.
I've been in
because-
Virginia for a week and a half,
Yeah.
came through.
Well, Cam was in Louisiana on a gambling trip. And talk about idiots. The stupid jerks that drove the bus. You know, all these people are on, they're saying, we gotta go home, we gotta go home. And he says, I'm not authorized. I'm not, I can't, and he couldn't get a hold of the owners in Corpus that owned the bus to say, bring them home. So she didn't get home until, it must have been late Wednesday, maybe early Thursday or something like that.
Okay.
And I'm
I went to the grocery store to get flashlights and, food that we had a gas stove and gas fireplace. But when I left to go to the store, it was a 2.
Yeah.
When I got home, it was a 4. And my husband's going, get in the car and put your dog, put the cats in the car. And I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
It was like
It was
45
amazing
minutes
how it
later, it was
changed.
a 4.
That happened to us in Honduras when Wilma came through.
Ooh.
Wilma came up around the Gracias a Dios as a 1 or a 2. And it got out in front of our house and went up to a 4.
And stayed there.
and stayed there.
I remember
And
when
it slowly crept across Honduras.
How much rain did we get?
Oh,
Feet.
tons. And it was raining 7-8 inches an hour.
in the mud.
But we had the roof of the house came down over the decks. Okay? It was what you call it, is square. And the roof of the house came down over the upper deck to cover the upper deck. And there was a ring of hurricane clips around where it crossed the concrete block wall, and another row of hurricane clips on the outer perimeter where it attached to the deck down to the ground. And when the hurricane got up to a floor level, we were sitting up in the upper floor of the house was the living area, and the second floor down was the bedroom, and then the bottom floor was the garage and the utility and pump room and everything. And we were sitting up in the upper floor, and my wife said, I can't handle this anymore. I'm going downstairs, I'm going to bed, you handle it. Because every time a gust of wind came, you could hear the roof go. It's just
Hurricanes are weird.
just hanging on those hurricane clips.
Obviously it stayed.
Yeah.
Builder Al Johnson stayed. And they built him. He built him.
Oh, they're out.
He's such a masterful builder, but he built himself a house out in Lamar, and he stayed. And I think they had their granddaughter or something with him. And he said the way he engineered or built his fireplace in the living room, the way the wind was blowing, it would blow down through the flue and it would make this howling sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
triggered this noise that made the dog howl. And his little granddaughter thought it was the funniest thing, and every time the dog would howl, she started laughing. And he said it was hysterically funny for 30 minutes.
Right.
5.5 hours later, it's still doing it. And he's finding things because they didn't have any earplugs. He said, I'm finding things to wind up. And we stuck it in their ears so we didn't have to listen to that whistling noise coming down the flue.
Yeah.
And he said, thank goodness for that, because it probably, if we hadn't have had that breathing,
Right.
it would have blown, the house pressure would have blown up. Who knows what would happen? He said, make it too airtight, no pressure. But he said the pressure really, he said I had headaches.
Our neighbors described that. They had cat doors, and they said their house. You hear those things, you could feel the change in pressure.
Yeah.
People who stayed said they was.
Looked like a man on a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
was-
it's
I
not
was
in here, it's
glad
out there,
just the
because
last
there's always
few
things going on.
My wife went from Celia. We were going to stay when it was a category 2. She goes, yeah, we'll be okay. But Thursday night, when it strengthened into a 4, she goes, we're out of here.
Well, I thought we were gonna stay.
Yeah, we're out of here.
Thursday afternoon.
Yes, she's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got all kinds of things.
Got a handful.
Yeah, I was on the phone with my attorney for half the time I was out just now, so, yeah, we're both got things. So, maybe at the end, she might have a few minutes. So our 3 o'clock dock is pretty full.
So I guess you got a Yankee chain.
I saw 2 people out there.
So if you protest your house, who you gonna get on the on the board here to hear your case?
Hopefully, we'll get work for that.
Yeah, make sure you
Without
turn
coming
it
in here.
in, make sure you turn it in before tomorrow.
That's the whole reason I'm curious.
Tomorrow is the deadline date for most properties. I got another set of properties that came out this last week, but their deadline's not until June 21st, but it's only about 1,300 properties.
1,300.
Okay.
We're gonna sidetrack a little.
Yeah. Eamon, do we have any commercial?
No, there's no commercial stuff till like middle of next week. I do have something I need to talk to you about, though.
Got a couple minutes.
It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be a kosher to do mom.
Right.
We don't have to recuse
I
ourselves.
was gonna say, in theory, we'd have to recuse ourselves, there would be no board to hear you.
Problem.
So why did you live in Costa Rica?
No, under
I'm in Honduras.
road.
On
Yeah.
purpose. Was it a job?
No, well, actually, we went down there just to retire. I retired in '98 IBM. And we just went down there to retire. We stayed 9.5.
Are y'all ready? Am I jumping the gun?
Uh,
You got somebody.
Okay, you wanna go ahead and have a
ready,
seat?
we're,
What do you want?
Right there at that table, it's all yours.
I broke the first 5 years.
I've no road name, one end or the other, I love
And I did not get your name, I don't know you call you. Mr. Lulu. No, it's fun to say.
Andy Town.
Townend?
Yeah, in town.
Okay.
That would be even smaller
Yeah.
if I was along on.
What do we have here?
All right, this is Mr. Townend for Una Laguna. Case number is 5-3.
It's a 3 o'clock.
Yes, 3 o'clock.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Andy Townend.
Andy? Can I call you Andy?
Yes, you may.
All right, Andy, we're good.
Mr. Carter's will let you know.
Very good. You had brought some hand out. I think you'll go to see, right?
We have, you, they were standing, right? We have. Actually, you don't. 3 o'clock. Right. Yeah, right, we don't have a kid. Maybe they're, did you just bring that in or they scanning it in right now?
They already did. 30 seconds.
Okay.
About 10 minutes ago.
Hey Beth, we don't have his evidence yet, or is that?
Val is putting it over right now.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, it should be there. If you want to, you can back out and back in.
Okay.
That might help.
Okay, we have some administrative to go through. As I go through it, I'll ask you a couple of questions along the way.
Sure.
We're opening a hearing on case ID 2021-53, account 25287. This hearing is being recorded. We're the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. The board is around the table. Mike is at the appraisal district representative.
That's insurance, by the way. We called each other beforehand.
We got a memo.
We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. Survey may be completed using the survey form and emailed to ptad.communications@cpa.texas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do appreciate if you take it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. This will be a snail mail letter that goes out after the meeting. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time, and this can't be. ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. And I'll begin with I do Charlie Powers, who solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 4166F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hopkins, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with a person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Bill Duff, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Scott Waggart, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. And you have it there, David.
I, Andy Townend, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board is true and correct.
Thank you, Mike.
My name is Mike Flood, do solemnly swear affirm the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board, the Aransas County Appraisal District, is true and correct.
And you hold an appraisal license in the state of Texas?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, you should have a piece of paper on the table.
No, I think they're going to take it. I think there's one more right there. Thank you, brother.
That's the procedure that will follow throughout the hearing. You get to choose whether you go first or Mike goes first.
Mike, please.
So, subject property is on Albatross, number 8 Albatross. The only thing under protest is Q2, which is appraisal ratio exceeds median level appraisal. As you know, to be equitable, you have to kind of know what the market is in the subject property owner's neighborhood. What does that look like for the subject property? So if you go to our evidence, Ray? Yeah. No worries. If you go to, yeah, my evidence, this is a subject property, go back one. Although market value was not protested, this is a recent sale, super fresh, March of 21, sold for 1.3 and change here. The subject property value that we currently have on the subject property is 1.2 and change, $100,000 below the sale. That's not protested, only equity protested. So how did the sale influence the entire market? Did it? Did it not? Is it just one of many? The answer is yes, it's one of many. The subject property, why am I going over the comp sales period? Why is that important? Because it speaks to the market value in the neighborhood, which then we're going to say, am I treating everybody equally? Okay, so subject property sold for, obviously there's no adjustments on comp number 1 because it is the subject. Comp number 2 is another one that sold. He's not the only person that bought it. In fact, to date, Ray, am I right? We had more north $1 million sales than we've ever had before.
Correct.
So, and Key Allegro. And this is one of many. Comp number 2 is on 38 Blue Heron, sold for 3.9 million. When you compare it with the subject property, both in size, age, classification, look at all the different facets, it's kicking out a value. Come up a little bit more. 1.5 and 1.52 and change when you compare it with the subject. Continue on. Comp number 3 is 23 Bahama. Sold for 1.3 million, 1.302 million. Again, you're looking at 7 versus 7, 3,000 versus 3,600, effective age 2007 versus 2015. It looks at all these factors and it kicks out a value, Ray, of 1.4 and change, 1.49. The last one that we have over here on the right is another sale off of 60 Curlew, $1.204 million. That one's a little bit less in classification, a little bit bigger than the subject property, a little bit newer than the subject property. That one produces a value of 1.389 and change. Now, what does this speak to? This speaks to the market value being at 1.4 by not only the subject property sale, but other sales. Now that we've established that, how are we treating everybody? Equal and uniform? Are we doing it in the same way? This is the equity grid. Again, notice that we're trying to pull 7 ST pluses across the board. They're in different locations. If there's a difference in land value, it's adjusted right here. Like this is a pretty good comp. This is on Albatross. This is on Albatross. Okay. This is $28,000 change. The next one's a $68,000 change. All 7 ST, 3,000 square feet living space. This one's got more than that. So there's going to be a negative adjustment. See that big negative adjustment there? This one's older than the subject. So there's going to be a positive adjustment. Positive adjustment. In the same way, on comp number 2, it's done in the same fashion. Continue on. Those two things render values of 1.26 and change, 1.27 and change. Okay. Comps number on equity, continue on. Comps number 3 and 4, equity. Again, not necessarily sales, just how are we appraising Keel Agro? Again, ST plus and ST plus 7 ST. 3,000 square feet, 3,700 square feet, 4,700 square feet. 2007, 2000, 2009. Where you see a small difference, you'll see a small calculation change. These are actually really good comps. 7 albatross, 8 albatross. What's the difference in the land value? $30,000. This one happens to be better. It's a negative adjustment. This goes on and on. All of these different factors go into play. You can see the classifications of the homes, the type of homes that we're talking about. This one on comp number 3 ranges the value to 2.82 and change. Comp number 4, 1.394 and change. This supporting factor is 1.280. The subject is appraised at 1.252. So from an equity standpoint, this is support.
Can I see number 2 again, please?
Yeah, for sure.
What's the, can you go up just a little bit so I can see the net adjustment? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Andy, you have 2 minutes for. Okay.
He's in his cross time.
We don't have it.
Okay, I'm going to.
It was just up there. The scan had it. There it is.
Okay, we just don't have it on ours. If you don't mind us watching up here.
We'll watch it up there.
So you have 2 minutes for cross-examination and then 5 minutes to state your case. So I'll give you 7.
So, thanks very much, Mike. That was excellent presentation. Obviously, have so many resources to pull from, and it's impressive to watch. First of all, 21 Bahama, that house has recently been updated. That was 1.49. I think it was assessed or appraised. That one's recently been, it's back on the market again. I'm not sure if it didn't go through, if the sale didn't go through, but it's back on the market, one in the middle here. Beautiful house, fully furnished with exquisite furniture and art. So there's a reason that it's 1.49. They're showing up at 1.49. I think it's listed right now at 1.95. So whether it's sold for 1.3 or whatever it did just recently, I'm not quite sure of that because if it did, I don't think the sale went through because it's still on the market. Again, fully furnished, all the artwork. Can you go up one more, please?
This one? Yes, okay, gotcha.
That one right there, Blue Heron. Blue Heron. Again, Blue Heron very recently remodeled. The picture on the website shows the dumpster in front of it. So I mean, it's been completely remodeled already. My house hasn't been remodeled in, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. When I bought it, the seller offered a credit for upgrades. But I bought it in March of 21. I believe that the date of the appraisals should be based on January 1 of 21, so we can address the sales price next year. I'm sure I'll be back in front of you all next year. But the sales price should be based on, the appraisal should be based on January 1 of 21, not something in March. We can address that at the appropriate time, I believe. So as far as equity, if you'll scroll down, please, to my evidence. Can you go all the way to the spreadsheet on the back, on the very bottom page? Yeah. So rather than go all over a Key Allegro, I just stuck right. I feel like Albatross is a pretty good representation of what my house is. It's a nice area. All the houses look very good. I chose corner lots. Mine is a corner lot, so I chose all corner lots. I wasn't trying to, get a house, a house on the straightaway with no dock or anything like that. I tried to get as accurate as I could, as equal as I could to my house. And you'll see over here, I even looked and saw it, tried to see if there was a pool, and mine has a little pool. So the value added to mine is 19,360. So those without pools, I added that to them. And I came up with an average adjusted square foot. Well, you can see the average right here. The average square foot of the houses I chose right around us was 312. And that was eliminating the one that's directly across the street, which I believe is, see, if I'm 8, it must be 4 Albatross, because it's still under construction. So I've got an eyesore across the street from me that is still hasn't been repaired from Harvey. Okay, so I eliminated that one because it was ridiculously low. So I took the low out, and that gave me an average of $312 per square foot. So at that average, in my immediate area, my value should be 962, and I'm being told that my house is worth 1.252. That is actually lower than it was that it was appraised in 2020. It was appraised, I believe, at like 990 in 2020. So it's gone up about 25% in 1 year. And I just don't think that's realistic, regardless of how hot the market is. I also have some issues. If you go up to the top page, please. I appreciate the opportunity to present all this to you, and it's about what the appraiser may or may not have been aware of when he does his inspection. The appraiser can't know everything about a house, and so it's not surprising that he wouldn't know these things. The boat docks, for example. We can go down to the pictures in a minute, but I'll just describe these. The boat dock, all the wood is rotten up. It's being replaced right now. I have to replace all the deck of that. You couldn't even walk on it. So that's about $7,200. The swimming pool, I had to drain it and acid wash the whole thing. All the equipment, a lot of the equipment is bad. The pool heater is non-functional. I had to replumb the whole thing. And I'm doing all this myself with a couple of helpers. So my costs are actually lower than what would be than a contractor would provide me. So I'm trying to be, again, honest and trying to be not honest, but trying to be realistic with my numbers. I'm not trying to inflate the numbers. So $7,200 for the pool, $3,200 for the acid wash. That was actually from Rockport Pools. Swimming pool equipment, the heater is non-functional. $3,200 for that. I guess about $500 for the labor, so about $3,700. Most of the windows in the house are non-operable. They won't actually open. Only a couple of them will open because of all the corrosion in the operating mechanics of them. So I guessed at $750 a window, about 10 windows that we're going to need replacing, $7,500. One of the boat docks is now operable and requires a new mechanism, $2,500. And then there's some repairs to the roof. I did get a quote on that. Minor repairs, but still they need to be done, otherwise it's going to cause more damage. So a total of about $24,000 in addition to my that I know of so far that needs to be done. And so my immediate area showed an equitable appraised value of about high nines, but I'm appraised at 1.255, and I have an additional just over $24,000 of repairs to complete. I appreciate y'all's time.
Do you want to look at the pictures, sir?
Yeah, of course, you can go through the pictures. That's today. We're doing that today. So all of that wood right there, a lot of that wood has to be replaced or reinforced. Go to the next picture. You can see this splintered wood. It's hard to see in this scan picture, but all of that decking is just before I took it off is all splintered. There you go. You can see it right there. all that had to come off. Swimming pool today, we're asphalting, cleaning it out, getting it all back to normal. The water was completely unstable. That heater is non-functional. And then there's a window. There's one of the windows that obviously was broken during Harvey on the right there. You can see it's just been replaced with plexiglass. It doesn't function, and that's representative of about 10 windows in the home. There's the actual special report. And then I think that was it. Yeah, I think that's the last page of the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all's time and we appreciate your considerations. Okay, thank you all.
Mike, you've got 2 minutes for cross-examination and then 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Sure. And of course, this is, you know, the spreadsheet or the analysis of a property owner. The thing that's different about this as opposed to my equity grid, these are all less class than some. All of them, every single one of them is less class. The first one is, and while he was doing it, I was pulling these up. This is 6, and so I'm just going to testify. I'm not presenting a document, I'm testifying to the truth and actual fact. This was 6ST, 7ST minus, 6ST plus, 6ST plus, and a 6FB. So I would just say that they're not as comparable as, I'm going to use this in my, go ahead and go to my evidence. For my equity grid, the classification for the home across the board is 7ST plus here. 7ST plus here with the 7ST regular there. So the best one on his grid is the 7ST minus at 23 hours. So I think that maybe he hasn't used that one. I didn't use that one. So those are analyses that are done. He did analysis. I would just make the very obvious statement that if you're to compare my whole grid to his whole grid, and ask yourself the question of comparability, this has high congruency in relation to his grid. That's all I would say. Moving on in my rebuttal time, there's no problem with things that are deficient if they were deficient at the time of the time of sale. I think he indicated that he had $24,000 worth of value.
24,720.
Yeah, there's no contention there. I mean, if you wanted to move the subject property to that degree, that's fine.
Cost secure.
It's a cost, yeah, it's a cost secured. Obviously, he knew that at the time of sale. So, I mean, really, if you want to know about it and how to go about that, you look at the cost of the sale, which is the 1.3 minus the 24,000. You still don't even get to the 1.25 that we get to.
Hey, 1.363, correct?
Yes.
And 2020?
It's that what you pay?
March 21.
March 21.
It's irrelevant.
Two months ago.
To this 2 months.
2 months ago.
Yeah. So it's first of all, in my cross time and my rebuttal time, it's infinitely relevant. Furthermore, I'm going to go back to my sales grid to speak on market value. Of course, it's relevant. To suggest anything different would be rude. Because of the sales grid. He wasn't the only one. That's the point. This is his that has no adjustments, it's 1.3. This one over here, again, if he's saying relevance as far as time, which that's not the comptroller's rule. Comptroller's rule is January 1. And guess what they take their sales from? June of 20, all the way to June of 21, that's where they take their sales. This one over here appraises out at 1.5 and change. Comp number 3 and 4, keep going. Comp number 1.4 and 1.3 and change. So you want to take the median of that, you're still going to be at 1.4, which is going to support the value that we have on the subject. So, but equity was under protest. There is no contingent of the $24,000. For the remainder of my time, I'll use any question or answer any questions.
Okay. So that Mike, you have 1 minute to close, and then Andy will have 1 minute.
He gets his. Who went first? I went first.
I think you went
Mhm.
first.
Okay. Yeah, so I was in my cross time and rebuttal time.
Yeah.
He gets his 2-minute rebuttal.
Oh, okay, no, sorry. You have 2 minutes to rebut his.
Sure, I'm just a citizen. I don't know about all this 7ST plus, 7ST star and all these things. All those houses in there look beautiful to me. I tried to do the best I could with corner lots, stucco houses, pretty houses, large lots, boat docks, all of the relevant things. This house hasn't been updated since, when it was 10, well, there it goes right there. I think effective year built it just in 2007, so was that 14 years? In dire need of updating. Blue Heron, for example, recently updated. Bahama, beautiful house, worth 1.5. No comparison to the subject property, no comparison. Granted, you might see a 7ST, whatever that means, but there's no comparison to these houses. They're all very recently remodeled, probably after Harvey. I don't have access to all that data, but looking at the pictures I looked at with dumpsters outside them, recent pictures with dumpsters full of trash outside them, tells me that they've just recently been stripped out and remodeled. Bahama's got a $50,000 kitchen. So there's no comparison. I've got Frigidaire appliances. There's no comparison to the house that I have. It's just a magnificent looking house on the outside, but it's a pretty standard house on the inside. Tile floors, sheetrock walls, and a Frigidaire kitchen. Just a house. Needs some work. I understand that's not part of it, but that's all I have. I appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, man. Now you got your minute to close and then go ahead.
The only thing I have to close with is that, as far as equity is concerned, the equity is driven around the market value. The market value in Key Allegro was exceptionally hot this year. I'm talking from 1 of 20 to basically 1 of 21. The subject property sale is indicative of that continued upward movement. And as it relates to that, the market values are supported from an equitable standpoint. They're all appraised. It's not like in my comp equity grid, scroll down just a little bit. This is the comp equity. This one's really appraised for 1.2 and change. This one's really appraised for 1.2 and change right now. But there's differences. I mean, you have to make comparisons. This one's really appraised for 1.2. This one's really appraised for 1.3. I mean, that's what they're on the market for right now in our database. I mean, it's not like we're reaching the stars here.
Okay. Andy, you got 1 minute. Any final closing comments or remarks?
I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you, Mike, for your time.
You betcha, sir.
All right.
I have a question. Do you feel you overpaid for the house at 136?
I do. I'm not going to say it's an arm's length transaction. It's not that it's not an arm's length transaction. We had a distress sale. My sister-in-law is on psychosis. We need to get down here to help my brother-in-law raise his kids. She's disappeared on us. And so my wife and I felt that we better get down here. So yes, the inventory was low. Yes, I had to overpay, but we had to get here to help my brother-in-law. Dr. Boy, his wife is no longer with him mentally, so that was why we had to pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's our time.
Give them 24,000.
You give them 24,000. All right.
Yeah, what,
Were you aware of the expenses involved when you purchased that? You said you had to buy it.
Sure, I mean, I'm a pretty handy guy. I can do most of the stuff myself. So, I enjoy doing it. I was aware that
You were aware of what needed to be done.
generally, I mean, not the dock, not the dock. I wasn't aware of the dock. Wasn't aware of the windows to the extent that they need that much repairs. So I was aware of probably, we could say half. I was aware of half of that. Yes, ma'am.
24/7. The cost security.
it has a determination made on the class
just the type of home that it is, both interior and exterior. There's a relationship there between that. Sometimes effective age is influenced along. There's different points in remodeling events. Even the subject property owner testified that he didn't do any of it. You know, it is an effective age of 2007, so any previous remodeling event would have happened previous to the purchase. So, I mean, he didn't do any of this. He didn't do this. The class of the home is just inherent to what we see in, you know, this is the class of the home that we see from the outside. Any information that we can get from the inside, we generally say this is in this class of home. It's not a 4, it's better than 5, looks better than a 6, probably a 7, you know, and then you get data when you get sales data. You get information when stuff is listed on the market. Some of that is interior, some of that is exterior. That's a general answer, I know, but we do have an appraisal manual, but it's general as well.
It's subjective to some extent.
Well, it's an opinion of value. I mean, it's an opinion of value subject to the appraiser's eye and the workmanship that's inherent to any such property, any such.
Could I ask when the appraiser has last been in the house?
They have not been invited into the house, I'm sure, for a long time. But we get information from the listing, you know, we get whatever information we can. If you want to invite us into your home, you're welcome to do so.
The picture and the actual evidence show the kitchen. You can see the kitchen. It's just a regular kitchen. It's nothing fancy like Bahama.
I would attest in all honesty that the interior of this house is not as pristine or spectacular as some of the properties that were mentioned in the analysis. So I'm comfortable with giving 24/7 in the house of just nothing.
Okay.
The 1, 2, 2, 7, 3. Is that where you go?
Yeah. Okay, so on case 2021-53, account number 25287, when considering Q2 appraisal ratio exceeds the median level of appraisal or the equity value of the home, the board moves to reduce the appraised value for 2021 from $1,252,000 to $1,222,000.
1227
1227.
300.
No, I'm missing a digit here.
No.
730. There we are. To 1.2 million 700. 1,221,730.
227 million.
Yeah, 227 million 300,000.
You want to say that again? So
Yeah, make sure you have the digits right for Ray.
I listened to Charlie. They repeated them singly. That's why.
1,227,300.
No, let Charlie say it, or let somebody else say it.
1,227,300.
Is that what you have, right? Okay, good. Can you hit the like button?
Yeah.
In favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank y'all.
Very good.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab.
Let's close.
That release or whatever, I wouldn't call it a briefcase, but that's been around the block.
Yes, it has. This is actually a brand called Saddleback Leather, and their slogan is "They'll fight over it when you're dead."
I've heard that before.
I like it. It has been around the block, that's for sure. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well done.
Good here, Andy.
I should have bought that. Young. It's always a-
Mr. McCain? It's case 167. ID 88-20598.
Mr. McCann, we have some administrative to go through before we get started. I may ask you some questions along the way. We're opening the hearing on case ID 2021-167, account 88-20598. This hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. The board is around the table. Mike is the district representative. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. At the end of the hearing, you may complete a survey regarding your experience. Survey may be completed using the survey form and email it to ptad.communications@cpa.texas.gov or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. Survey is voluntary, but we do encourage you to take it. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided with our determination. You got a letter in snail mail with all the summary of this meeting. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Do we have all your evidence?
Yes.
Very good, thank you, sir. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. I shall begin with I, Charlie Towers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, solemnly swear that I have not communicated with a person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Bill Duff, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. Mr. McCann, there's a tape to the table. Could you read that with your name inserted in the blank spot, please?
Yes, sir. I, Ronald McCann, do solemnly swear that the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board is true and correct.
Mike?
My name is Michael Sutter, do solemnly swear from the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board, the Aransas County Appraisal District, correct?
My name is David Burke. I do solemnly swear from the testimony you shall present the appraisal review board in this county appraisal district is true and
Mr. McCann?
Yes.
Do you have a license as an appraiser in Texas? Do you have a license to appraiser? Also on the table, there should be a piece of paper.
Just signed one.
No, this is a chart. You have a stack of those.
There's a reason why we have a stack.
That's how we're going to proceed through the hearing. You'll see there's two different columns. Would you like to begin, or would you like Mike to begin?
I doesn't.
Well, you have to choose the governor.
Okay, y'all go for it.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, this is, the reason I called Eamon in is this is one of those that there's two different things where I'm a little confused because it appears this should be possibly an income producing property. And we don't have it on income, we have it just as a warehouse. And the only thing I can liken it to is there was a case, and it's a matter of public record. This is already a case that we've heard. And I'm not going to talk about specifics about that property, I'm just saying generalities. It's a warehouse in which a property owner had a portion of it as garage and a portion of that as living space. That's the only thing I can think of. But again, this is not, it's a little confusing. But I'm going to go with the evidence I present, like I have in the account, because that's what I gave the property owner. And so that's all I can present on. But I'm testifying to you that it could be income producing because it looks like it's, it looks like it's like boat storage. I don't know. It looks like it's boat storage. And so all I have is just warehouse good on this property We do data collection within our system. The reason I'm going about this is because I think that the methodology could be incorrect this year, but will be changed next year. It's not relevant to this year's value because I can only speak to this year's value, but in our collection of data, this classification probably should have been swept up into the warehouse move that we did this year. Having said that, I'm going to go with what I've got. As far as what are other properties like this transaction for? Is this property both market value and equity, or what is it?
Just market value.
So it's just market value. So the 70 property is currently at 257,000 and change. You can see right over here in the picture, you got some warehouse things. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and you got 6 on this side. So there's 10 plus a little cover, I guess. Anyways, we just have this as warehouse here. You just have it as warehouse. And then you have the land element. The land is 77,000. You'll pull this up. We're going to pictometry imagery. Where is the thing? This is on 35. So this is 35 in Lamar. Holiday Beach is up here and up here. And this is before when you get to Lamar. So this down over here, you would have like where the gas station is on the right-hand side. And this is Seaside Loop. Okay. This is used to be like all of this land in here used to be like ag land. And this was pulled out a couple of years ago, is that right, sir? And so this was built, and then this year this was added, or at least we picked it up added this year. All right. So going on. This is what we have. We have the market value 257, warehouse good. We're just trying to compare with other properties and what we currently have them, like what they've sold for. Okay. So this is kind of the closest one is on B3 Circle. The difference is there's not much difference in the effective age. There's a slight difference in classification where this one is better. The excellent is better than the good. But you'll see that this is 2,000 versus 4,000 square feet. So this one sold for 260,000. Subject property says 257. There's a difference in the land value, of course. This one's got better land over on B Tree, so there's a big number of this. That river's value 248. You can see it's hard to see. I can take you to pictometry if you want to see that. This one is another warehouse. It's not like boat storages like this. This is more of a warehouse. This one sold for 192. Again, less square footage in the subject. The subject is newer. The adjustment for this one comes out to 231 and change. Again, this is not cost value. This is just like what are the people buying these things for? Okay, that's what market value is. Colin Drive. This is again, it has a stall here. They're both blue. I wish there was something better that I could point to. It is what it is. They're both in the same classification. There's no adjustment there. You can see that right there. There's a difference in the land value. This one sold for 138,000. Of course, subject is better for the land. It's got more value in the land. No adjustment in the class, but it's 4 times the size, almost 4 times the size that this thing sold for. This renders the value of 232 when compared to the subject. The last one we have is in Aransas Pass. I already have a picture of it. It's a warehouse low. So this is like we have low, average, good, excellent. Those are the 4 classes that we have. This is the low. That one sold for 160. When compared to the subject, it's 245. It's by far not the best comp. You can see it's just furthest away. It's furthest away as far as class. It's pretty small. It's just not a great comp. 242 is what we can show. The best we can prove is 242. Market value is the only thing under protest. The burden of proof lies with the district to be at market value. The best we can support is 242. We have 257. I'm affirming to you that you should agree with the property owner at least to this degree right now. So, and I am going to affirm to you that it's probably not warehouse in nature. It's probably boat storage in nature, and probably will have a different approach to value. The market value can be changed to anything this year, but the approach to value has already been established. The evidence has already been established. I can't change that.
Okay, Ronald, you have 2 minutes for cross-examination, and then you have 5 minutes for your presentation. So I'll give you 7 minutes.
Basically, the comps that are on here are totally different. Mine is a boat storage, totally unfinished, no running water, electricity. There's one light bulb, one outlet in each 10 doors. That's all they are. Most they're not even close to comparables. All I had asked with the evidence I submitted is comparing it to the other boat storages along the highway frontage in the area, and breaking it down for the appraised value against the 10 doors. What does that figure come up to? You do the same math in the other ones, and I'm at 17,000 per door, where the others are in the $5,000, $6,000 range per door, taxable value. That's what I had in question. And I think these, if you scroll through that is mine. If you scroll down a little bit, 10 units with that evaluation of 179.7 comes out to 17,970 per door. If you scroll on to the next one, comparing to the storage out on the highway with highway frontage.
This one,
This one has 15 units. Scroll up just a little bit, that comes out to $5,688 per stall evaluation. Theirs are only $85,320. Where mine are $179. Granted, these are not on concrete, mine are. All of my stalls are concrete floor. This is not. The plaids, if you scroll on down, theirs will be more of a comparison. And theirs gets kind of fuzzy because it's so big. They've got them blended together. I counted them and there's 50 units in there. So if you blend this one and 6638 and 6644, there's 50 total units. It comes out to 5783.80 per door. It just, that math didn't add up to me, and that was what I was going on. And that's pretty much all I got.
Okay. All right.
I don't have the property value at all in question on any of them. I just the improvements. That's all I was about.
All right, Mike, you have 2 minutes for cross-examination, and 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Yeah. So in light of the subject property owner's evidence and the protest form, and I'm just going to read this protest form. The protester said market value should be around 120. I have 108 construction cost of invoices, 120 improvement, total of 197,000. I think that's a good estimate of what, I don't know if he agreed. I mean, if he's saying that still the 197, but based on his information, like I indicated to you, it would be a totally different approach to value. And then there'd be like an excess land thing. I don't have any of that. He just did a rudimentary, good job, by the way. Like he did like like this is this many per stall or whatever. And I think the number he's coming up with is 197. Is that right? I don't have anything further.
If you notice on that, if I can interject, I did send in my income statements for 2020 and projected for 2021. You'll see that I don't make a whole lot of money.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. 197 is what he says, and I don't have anything to rebut that.
So you're saying you're okay with that number?
Yeah, he's got good evidence.
Okay. That includes the land value.
Yeah, that's the whole parcel.
Okay. 197. Okay. Sounds like we're kind of in agreement here. Yeah. Okay. So go do it. All right. So on case ID 2021-167, account number 8820598, when considering incorrect appraised market value. I move that we reduce the appraised value, 2021 appraised value from $257,240 down to $197,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for your time.
Take about 5 minutes, sure, 2 minutes, whatever.
We can take five.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Shouldn't take you that long.
Yeah, I think there is, guys. I think there's another one, at least one. I saw it on the, 2 more, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a Catherine Meyer. And, and then maybe an affidavit, does that sound right?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, one more before. Great.
Yeah. Change the drugs.
Oh, yeah?
No,
Better than-
than plan. Go out to the shelter. I go out to the shelter. Regular,
Does it?
yes. In fact, I was. I go out Monday and Tuesday. I would go out Sunday. We weren't going to church or whatever. I go out Sunday and Monday because that's the day that we're employed. The yards is off. So I try to go out whenever I can. Always on Monday, but sometimes Sunday too. Yeah. I made it an emergency trip there during lunch today. I got a call from auto.
She said that's no plexiglass. Man. Uh-huh. So they appreciate it.
Oh.
The 2-inch bond.
On the top
On
one.
the top. Yeah, I go out there. So, I got there.
Great.
Yes, I like her.
This one's gonna be on the phone.
Meyer?
Good idea.
All right.
We've got a lot of.
Yeah. When I first started volunteering there, Cindy,
Yeah, I forgot the last manager.
we're not Colleen. I like Colleen.
Oh,
I thought she
Colleen was fine.
Yeah,
She
she was
just had
good.
to leave.
Yeah, she's good. Man. But the one before Cindy. Yeah, yes. And I got there like a week before she left, 2 weeks before she left. I met her once, but never had. Everybody said, "Oh,
Very like, everybody.
yeah." Yeah, I enjoyed calling.
Yes, she was good. I forgot what it was. Was she family member?
Yeah, her mother
Something.
needed some help or whatever, so she moved to Seattle. Somewhere up there. It was a case. I hadn't been there. And the FedEx guy drives up. And Colleen's car was
Is it?
in front of the garage.
There's not an affidavit?
No. Oh,
I go inside.
do you remember, Lyons?
Yeah.
Colleen's car.
He was the other guy on the docket. Didn't get his affidavit in, I guess.
Okay.
So that I was talking to him, she feels bad. She's like 8-year-old.
Hmm.
He said that you talked to Ray, and Ray said that.
They went in the
that
office.
point,
and
that she
something-
was bored. So she feels bad. It's like,
They were hanging on.
it's all right.
Ah,
You
I was like,
can't change things.
I moved her on. Put the keys back. But when she got back, she goes,
But she was telling
she
me,
was
you feel
very
like it's not straight and like it.
No, that was the way. That's
I was
the
like,
way
that
you some reprimands. Yeah, very nice, and very professional. She said, you know, because I don't think that was the right.
Nope, phone call.
Expected you to not.
Something. Just one on the phone, and then we're done. Yes.
I'm only a volunteer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
It's
guys.
number 217, right?
Catherine Meyer.
Yes.
Okay.
Ready? Sorry. Sorry, no, you're fine. That goes as long as it doesn't bother you. I'm okay.
Bottom of page 6.
Hello, this is Kathy.
Ms. Meyer, this is Charlie Powers at the Appraisal Review Board. How are you this afternoon?
I am terrific. Thank you for calling.
Okay, what we're gonna do is we got some administrivia to go through before we get to the heart of the matter. So if you'll just follow along with us, I may have a few questions along the way.
Okay.
We're opening a hearing on case ID 2021-217, account 13456. This hearing is being recorded. The Appraisal Review Board, we are the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. The Comptroller's Office provides an electronic survey for you to offer feedback about your experience today that may be accessed at the Appraisal District Office or online at surveymonkey.com/r/surveyarb. The survey is voluntary. You also have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. That's going to be a snail mail letter that comes out after this hearing. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. I'm assuming we have all your evidence. Is that correct?
I just had a comment in the form, I think on
Oh, the JPEGs.
the document I had that notarized.
Yes.
Well, you can't open it from here. But
So we have it all.
Still has
Yes.
copies.
Very
of it,
good,
maybe
thank
she can,
you.
like, email it over.
The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. And I shall begin with, I, Charlie Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with the person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66.
I, Bill Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
I, Scott Wagner, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. Ms. Myers, I am assuming that you are under oath for the duration of this hearing because as a result of you signing the affidavit. Do you understand?
I understand.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Michael Sutter, just solemnly swear affirm the testimony you shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true, correct?
Ms. Meyer, do you have a license as an appraiser in the state of Texas?
I do not.
Okay, do you have the time limit, the hearing procedure times page handy? It was in your package. You got it?
Yes.
Excellent. You'll see that there's two columns there. One is the protester goes first and one is the district goes first. Would you like to go first or would you like Mike to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, in that case, you have 5 minutes to state your case.
If I could press the time on hold right now, Mrs. Meyer, I'd like to bring something to your attention that was, this was an online protest and she uploaded the evidence. The type of extension, which is a JPEG, is not a PDF, and we're trying to get that evidence, like she turned it in timely, but we're not able to present it through PAX. So we're trying to get this through somehow to print, not print, but to display in a way that she can do it. So if she wants to go first, we can wait. Definitely can wait. And I'm sorry about that, Mrs. Meyer. It's just a technical difficulty that we're running into. Most of the people.
Yeah, my apologies, I didn't realize that. If it helps, you can go first, that's fine with me.
Okay, I can do that, and hopefully that'll buy some time and that she can get the evidence, we can get it over here so we can get it displayed.
Well, we do have her,
I do have PDF.
we have it on our tablets.
Okay,
If you're talking about pictures.
And she had 2 pictures.
okay, so it's just me that doesn't have it then.
Okay.
That's
yes.
right. That's because it won't
Okay.
open in PAX.
So let me ask a question, Ms. Meyer. All we have is a property owner's affidavit of evidence and 2 pictures. Is that everything you submitted?
Yes,
Okay, then you can go first.
okay. All I wanted to note was I purchased the property in October 2020, and it was an unfinished unit, unfurnished, and my intent was to purchase it and use it for personal and rental income. The other properties that are the comparison to my properties, most of those have been finished out and sold with furniture. This particular property has no furniture and no appliances. And my primary concern is that I have still not had appliances delivered to the property. I'm in that boat of delays where I was told they would come in November, then December, and now we're into June. So I've been told the refrigerator, the microwave, the stove, and a Ventahood are somewhere due in June. But for half of this year, I have not been able to use the property as a rental property, nor really use it for personal use. So that's the summary of my protest.
Okay. All right, you'll have more time later to speak again. So Mike, you have 2 minutes then for district cross-examination and 5 minutes for your presentation.
Yeah, my cross time, all I would say is that, or all I would ask is that I believe that of the items that she described, the Ventahood is the one that's most probably, the most often it's just left with the house. Refrigerators are often left with the house, but sometimes they're not. What was the other item you described, ma'am?
The stove and the microwave.
Stoves are definitely typically left in the house.
These were gutted. This is a totaled out RV condominium.
Correct.
I understand that, but she's indicating on the first of the year, all she has left is appliances to do. Is that not what you said, Ms. Meyer?
That is correct.
Yeah, all she has is appliances. Like she has to just fill the appliances.
Can't use the condo.
But you can't use it, they're limited because there's no appliances.
Of course she can. She just can't cook or have a refrigerator.
Well,
There's
the pictures also show shelves, cabinets, other things and appliances that don't appear to be complete.
Shoddy work also.
Well,
Okay. I thought this was like y'all got to hear the evidence and then you get to make a decision.
well,
Is that right?
You brought it up.
that would be the case. Yeah, you started it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I mean, yeah, there's a protocol here, guys. I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. When were these pictures taken?
The ones you're viewing 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you have is this in your kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, what would you estimate your total repairs? And just to be sure, you did pay $239 for the subject?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about some number off of the $239. What?
No, well, but my understanding is the appraisal is not at 242, 270.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have 242, you pay 239. You'd have a really good case in market value. The only thing you checked was equity. Having said that, I'm just trying to get the number. So 239, okay. What is your cost to cure? Like how much is it costing for your refrigerator, your stove, your Ventahood, and all of that work? What are we talking about?
You mean that's left for installation and delivery? Is that the question?
Yeah, because what we have is we have in our evidence, we have, a condo, and in our in our card, we have 100% complete, and obviously it's not complete. So I just want the number of, like, what is that number? What is your refrigerator, your vent hood, your stove installation, and, you know, like, how do you tie it all together? What is that number?
It's great. I have $4,500 left for the installation and then the completion of the countertop and the backsplash.
Okay.
You know, the purchase of the appliances, to bring the contractor back for installation, to finish out the last things that have not been done in the kitchen because the appliances are not installed.
Okay. And so 4,500 plus appliances?
No, that includes the appliances.
So we're talking a $4,500 adjustment off of the 239?
No, the 239, didn't that include the cost of all the things you're discussing? And when you pay the 239,
What I paid for the property. And that's, I'm just asking for it to be valued at that same value for this year.
239.
Well, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
My evidence is based off the, you know, my equity, which is the only thing supports a value of 251, but if all she's asking is to go to 239, then.
You're good?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sure. It's a fresh sale, it's a market.
Ms. Myers, that you just want 239, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So we're in agreement. So let me make a motion here on case 2021-217, account number 13456. When it comes to appraisal ratio, Q2 appraisal ratio exceeded the median level of appraisal or equity value, that we are going to lower the value, the 2021 appraised value from 242,270 to 239,000 even.
Second.
In favor? Aye. That's it, Catherine, you got it.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Is there any letters or is there anything going on today?
You know, I'm gonna go ask Val. Sometimes she gets like letters like people that didn't show or good cause questions or whatever.
I said that seemed really worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's a fresh sale, it's, I guess it's open market sale, so.
Diminished income.
Oh, I
I was prepared to strongly argue back to the 2020 deal because I feel bad for everybody in Bay House. They've got through hell.
Huge assessments, it's been horrible.
Yeah,
Compared to like condos and the minimum one assessment, that's it.
Cindy's sister keeps, she's like, I want a condo. It's like, I don't like.
They have a public service announcement of why not to buy a condo.
Yeah.
Why not to?
Go to a condo, just rent.
Yeah.
I could make a crude comment about a joke I've heard many years ago, but I won't, since we're being recorded.
Oh, we still being recorded?
Yes, we're being recorded.
Everybody knows Bay House condominium, I feel incredible empathy for them.
Well, also, I like my boy.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't even go there.
They took
Dear
part of,
friends that have one there.
they took part of the fence down.
Is it?
Some
Oh,
of
did they?
them are
Oh, good.
livable, not many.
Yeah. There's one chunk of chain link that they took down.
So are you still a scuba diver?
No.
I started scuba diving in 1978 in Destin, Florida. I worked on a charter boat. Actually, I worked on a commercial fishing boat, and my captain liked to scuba dive.
Okay.
And he just needed some idiots to go with him.
Yeah.
And they had blown up the old Destin Bridge, and when they demolished the old
Yeah, there's nothing else, guys.
they took it offshore and dumped it.
Oh, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
And it was a beautiful bridge.
move that we
Gas
adjourn.
gallon free.
Second.
I'll second that.